On the news, Nigeria evacuates more citizens from South Africa. Chief Justice Tanko Mohammed to swear in 38 senior lawyers. And tragedy in Liberia as school inferno kills 26 children. Hello and welcome. You're watching News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Annetta Philip. A second batch of Nigerians have been evacuated from South Africa. The returnees made up no fewer than 319 people departed OR Tambo International Airport, Johannesburg, at about 3 p.m. on Wednesday. They were earlier scheduled to return on Tuesday, but were delayed following the refusal of the South African government to grant national carrier Air Peace a landing permit. On touchdown, the returnees will be received by officials of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Immigration. Last week, the first batch of 187 Nigerians were evacuated from South Africa by Air Peace following days of xenophobic attacks on foreigners in the country. Meanwhile, Consul General, Nigerian High Commission in South Africa, Godwin Adama, says the number of those who had registered for evacuation had increased to 1,004 from the 640 earlier reported. Chief Executive Officer of Peace Airlines, Alan Oyema, has appeared before lawmakers at the House of Representatives. The lawmakers had earlier invited Oyema to commend his decision to freely evacuate Nigerians from South Africa following the outbreak of xenophobic attacks on foreigners in the country. His appearance comes a day after members of the House recommended him for national honors. In his remarks, Oyema thanks the lawmakers for the honor, adding that his actions were spontaneous and that he would do anything to evacuate even a single Nigerian.
I commend the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Muhammad Buhari, for the matured way he handled the issue of xenophobia in South Africa in the face of debilitating and very annoying provocation that could make any country to take the wrong decision. But our president showed a lot of maturity in handling the issue. I decided to do this. I don't need a penny, I don't need a dime from anybody, and I've never been given any by anybody, not by government, not by anybody. The only thing I demanded from the government of the day was get the High Commission in South Africa to get my countrymen and women together for me to come and move them out of that place in order to restore respect to our dignity as a nation. And I'm very happy to announce to you that that singular act has brought a lot of respect for Nigeria worldwide.
In view of what the good members said here and the good works of Barrister Oyema, I want to suggest, Mr. Speaker, that the National Assembly do recommend to Mr. President for a national honor for this great Nigeria.
And I'm aware that as we speak today, his aircraft has gone again and bringing in even more Nigerians back home to safety. So, Oyema, on behalf of the House and the People's House, I commend you, we appreciate you, we thank you for your commitment, for your patriotism. I will use you as a point of contact to all of the Nigerians, wherever they may be, to emulate this behavior, this conduct, which you have so selflessly exhibited.
Nigeria's Chief Justice Tanko Mohammed will on Monday, September 23, 2019, swear in 38 new senior advocates of Nigeria at the Supreme Court. The swearing-in ceremony is one of the several programs lined up to herald the 2019-2020 legal year of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Justice Tanko will also deliver a stage of the judiciary address at the event to highlight the performance of the Supreme Court and, by extension, the Nigerian judiciary in the previous year. It will be recalled that of the 117 legal practitioners that applied for the rank of the Senior Advocate of Nigeria in 2019, 38 were successful at the end of the rigorous exercise. Out of this number, 3 are academics, while 35 are advocates. The Supreme Court commenced its annual vacation after a remarkably successful 2018-2019 legal year on Monday, 29 July 2019. Still on judicial matters, the Governorship Election Petition Tribunal in Niger State has upheld the election victory of Governor Abubakar Bello. The PDP and its candidate Umar Nasako had challenged Bello's victory, alleging that he submitted forged certificates to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. But ruling on the case, the tribunal led by Justice John Igboji dismissed the petition on grounds that it was an abuse of court process since the case had been heard and decided by a federal high court. The court also upheld the objection of the second respondent, which is the APC, asking it to dismiss the claims of the PDP and its candidate. Outgoing Register of West Africa Examination Council, E. Wadia, has described his tenure as successful. Wadia made the remark while addressing journalists at a teleconference in Lagos. Speaking from the WIAC headquarters in Accra, Ghana, Wadia highlighted his achievements in the past year. Adeshawa Odushoga has more.
After 7 years of being at the helm of affairs in Africa's leading examination body, WAEC, Iyi Uwadiaye will be bowing out of office come September 30, 2019. In his parting words, the registrar affirms that his administration has continually worked to tackle examination malpractice with the deployment of technology.
With the use of technology, we built tighter security around our examination materials and conduct, as various gadgets and software were deployed for identification of candidates, capturing of data and detection of irregularities at examination centers. Constraint papers were also introduced to stifle cheating at the examinations. We successfully reduced the period for the processing of the results of WASP for candidates from an average of 84 days in the past to barely 45 days, and the compression is still ongoing.
Uwadiaye also highlighted other achievements like the introduction of private candidacy, attestation of results, as well as deployment of technology in the Council's operations and activities.
We remain focused on full migration into digital administration of examinations, and the march towards this ultimate goal progressed significantly. To this end, WAEC-owned computer-based testing installations have continued to spring up for use by council and public or private institutions or organizations, while e-marking software and equipment have been deployed for the marking selected subject papers in our examinations.
Although the outgoing registrar did not unveil his successor, he however assured Nigerians and West Africans as a whole that he is leaving what he calls the Healthy Council in safe hands. Adeshawa Odushoga, TV360, Lagos.
President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, to take over the activities of the Presidential Investigation Panel for the Recovery of Public Property, SPIP. This follows the dissolution of the panel chaired by Okoye Ogbonobla. The directive is coming weeks after the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, launched an investigation into alleged corrupt practices by the panel. Following the launch of the investigation, Ogbonobla was suspended by the president. The Presidential Investigation Panel was established in August 2017 by the then acting president, Yemi Osinbajo, to investigate specifically mandated cases of corruption, abuse of office, and similar offenses by public officers. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says all agencies under him always followed due process in the award of contracts and other critical matters. He was reacting to a report published by an online newspaper which reported that President Muhammadu Buhari had directed Osinbajo to seek approval for agencies under his supervision. A statement by Osinbajo's spokesperson described the report as false insinuations, insisting that the vice president follows due process in the supervision of agencies under him. The development is coming hours after President Muhammadu Buhari scrapped the economic management team of his administration, chaired by Osinbajo, replacing it with the Economic Advisory Council. The police have explained why it laid siege at the Lagos office of media outlet Sahara Reporters and the premises of the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, CDHR. Protests demanding the release of Omoyele Sowore had been scheduled to take place at the venue at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, but it failed to hold as scores of police officers were seen at the planned venue of the protest, restricting movement. When contacted, spokesperson of the Lagos Police Command, Bala Elkanah, said the deployment of police to the areas was to serve as protection and ensure that law and order were maintained. Sowore, a candidate of the African Action Congress in the last presidential election, had been detained since August by the Department of State Services, DSS, who accused him of threatening public peace with the Revolution Now protest. The National Information Technology Development Agency, NITVA, has attained a global ISO certification. Speaking at a ceremony in Abuja to celebrate this milestone, Minister of Communication Isa Ibrahim charged the agency to sustain the momentum and to keep blazing trails in the sector of information security. Also speaking to Newsmen, Director General NITDA Inwa Abdullahi said the ISO certification will go a long way in dealing with Nigeria's information and governmental service challenges.
This ISO 27001 is all about improving security and safety, improving security in the area of cyber security, improving security when it comes to physical security, and safety as well is part of it. You will see many buildings around, world-class buildings, but if you enter, you will clearly see there are no even safety requirements there, no safety or emergency exit there. Whenever you enter a building, the first thing they will tell you, this is an emergency exit. Whenever you need to exit, this is where you should follow. So that is why we should be more concerned about our security and safety, because the challenges are very manifest, and the only way is to have some standards that we comply with.
When you are talking about e-government or digital services, it's about these three things. You need to make the information or the service available to the citizen. You need to make sure the integrity of the service, and you need to make sure of the confidentiality of the service. So to achieve this, you need to pay attention to information security. And information security is beyond technology. People see it as only IT things. So it's not an IT thing. It's about the business. It's about keeping the light on and keep the flag flying.
Women have marched in their dozens to the government house in the Rivers State capital, Port Harcourt, to protest the spate of killings of young women in hotels in the state. Clad in black, the women called on the police to protect women in Rivers regardless of their alleged occupation as sex workers. About 8 young women have been murdered in different hotels in Rivers in the past 2 months. The bodies of the ladies were said to have been found in similar conditions, strangled and with a white piece of cloth tied around their neck. When the women held a similar protest at the police headquarters in Rivers State on Monday, Deputy Commissioner of Police in the state, Chuks Enwonu, asked the protesters to discourage women from prostitution, as it makes them easy targets to prey on. His remarks, however, did not go down well with Nigerians who criticized him for describing the victims as prostitutes. Nyesom Wike, governor of the state, however, says security agencies were working to ensure that the killings stop and that the perpetrators will be made to face the full wrath of the law. We will take a break here and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
Wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
You're welcome back. Let's now turn to Fidelia Aguncha for business stories.
Thank you, Annetta. The Central Bank of Nigeria says it will start charging individuals 3% processing fee for withdrawals and 2% for deposits of amounts above 500,000 naira. The directive takes effect from Wednesday, September 18. Similarly, corporate accounts will attract 5% processing fees for withdrawals and 3% processing fee for lodgements of amounts above 3 million naira. According to the CBN, the charges would be in addition to already existing charges on withdrawals and will be aimed at encouraging its cashless policy. The Federal Executive Council FEC has approved a sum of 519 million naira for the continuation of construction of the Obanewi-Okigwe Road awarded in 2009. The Council also approved a sum of 9.16 billion naira for the construction of the Alesi Ugep Road in Cross River State. Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola revealed this while addressing journalists after the FEC meeting in Abuja.
The Ministry of Works and Housing presented 4 memoranda today. 2 of them were for approvals to revise estimates of costs so that the contractors can continue work. So the first that falls in that category of revision of estimates is the Obanewi Okigwe Road. So Council approved a revision of 519 million to cater for the change in cost of materials and all of that since the project was awarded, I think, in 2009, so that the contractor can finish. So the contract sum has been revised from 3.7 to 4.3 billion, with some fractions on it. The second one that also has a revision of estimates is the ongoing contract on the Alesi Ugep Road in Cross Rivers, 67 kilometers. So Council approved a revision of the contract sum from 9.16 billion to 11.22 billion. One of the things we've done first includes what we've done today, finding out why projects have not been completed. In some cases, the rates have become obsolete, so the price of cement has changed, the exchange rate has changed, inflation has gone into the quantities at which it was awarded before we came. So we are trying to resuscitate some of those projects because we know that the contractors will not go back to work if the pricing is not right. That's one thing we are doing. There's a government policy also to ensure that we complete as many projects as possible. So unlike in the past, this government has focused on completing projects.
Well, let's now move to the global oil market. Just like President Muhammadu Buhari, Nigerian oil experts have condemned the attack on Saudi Arabia's oil installations. The latest reaction is from Akingbade Akinyemi, who described the attack as an unfortunate occurrence which has affected global oil prices. Multiple drone strikes disrupted operations at 2 major oil production facilities operated by state-owned Saudi Aramco, one of the top oil and gas refineries in the world, causing panic in the oil market.
The international crude oil market is competitive and is subject to the laws of demand and supply. Whenever there is any disruption in the supply, it's going to have immediate impact on the price, knowing fully well that the demand for crude oil globally is more or less constant. So there must be, if the supply is not secured or guaranteed, any disruption in supply has a direct impact on price. And to date, between Saturday and now, the oil price has increased and has skyrocketed. There are reports that are, that have come up with between 14 and 18% increase in price before the attack. So you're going to see that you see oil price playing in the region of 65 to 70 over the next few weeks.
We'll take a break now and return with a review of the stock market. Don't go away. It's good news for investors at Nigeria's equities market as the bulls make its first appearance for the week after 2 days of bear drag. This follows NBS report indicating that inflation rate dropped by 0.06% in the month of August. With the exception of the oil and gas index, major sectors at the NSE closed positive, pushing the market value higher by 1% to place its overall value at 13.47 trillion naira. So Stanbic IBTC leads the pack of gainers with a 2.45 kobo surge in its share price, and this is coming in the wake of revelation that the financial institution facilitated a capital inflow of $589 million in the second quarter of 2019 and paid interim dividends of 10.2 billion naira to shareholders in the first half of 2019. Guaranty Trust Bank right here is the second biggest gainer with a positive difference of 13 kobo in its value. MTN Nigeria sits on the third spot of the chart while ETI comes in fourth, closing at 8 naira. Well, let's now move to the flip side, which is the losers chart. Forte Oil is falling for the second time this week, leading the pack of losers. Low cap Consumer Goods Equity Champions PLC is the second biggest loser for today, while Custodian PLC and First Bank of Nigeria Holdings stands third and fourth respectively on the chart. In summary, there was an increase in market activities with the number of traded shares coming in at 379 million, a surge of about 90% when compared to Tuesday's trading. The sum of the traded equities comes in at 5.3 billion naira, which is a huge improvement from the 2.8 billion naira recorded yesterday. Let's now move outside Nigeria, which is a foreign scene, and see how it's faring. The FTSE is falling as UK government and opposition debate whether or not Prime Minister Boris Johnson broke the law by suspending Parliament. It's the same story in US and Asia, whose markets are dropping by 0.22% and 0.18% respectively. Well, that's it from the world of business. It's back to Annette.
Thanks for that update, Fidelia. Moving on, no fewer than 28 people, most of them children, have been killed in a fire at a boarding school in a suburb near the Liberian capital, Monrovia. The fire is believed to have broken out in the early hours of Wednesday when school students were sleeping in a building attached to a mosque. The statement from the president's office quoted emergency services saying 26 children and 2 teachers died in the inferno. President George Weah has now visited the site in Painesville to condole with affected families and the community. Partial official results from Israel has revealed a virtual tie between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, his center-left main challenger, former military chief Benny Gantz. With just over 60% of votes counted, the results indicates that each will struggle to form a majority coalition with smaller parties. State media reports that Netanyahu's Likud party won 31 seats, while his opponent's party garnered 32, both men failing to meet the 61-seat majority required in the parliament. Netanyahu, Israel's longest-serving prime minister, has been in office for the past 10 years and is vying to stay in power for a record 5th term. And in sports, Nigeria's Minister for Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, says the country will use the upcoming World Athletics Championship in Doha, Qatar, as preparation for the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. Briefing journalists after the Federal Executive Council meeting, Dare commended the male and female national basketball teams for emerging best in Africa at various tournaments. He says the ministry is working with President Buhari to reward their effort.
Morocco will serve as a benchmark as we prepare for the 2020 Olympics, June next year. Our athletes will be going to Doha on Saturday for the Doha meet, which is almost the equivalent of the Olympics. And from the outcome in Doha, Nigeria can start to either count its gold or bronze or silver medals when it comes to the Olympics. The Ministry of Youth and Sport has written the presidency so that the president can give us a date that is suitable. And beyond the medalists from Morocco, we're going to have the Tigress and the Tigers. The Tigress won the Afro-Basket gold medal. The Tigers also have qualified for the Olympics. So when you look at it, we're virtually African champions when it comes to both female and male basketball. So there'll be a reception.
The Super Eagles of Nigeria will face 5-time world champions Brazil in a friendly match on October 13 in Singapore. According to a release from the Brazilian Football Federation, Raw's side was picked because they are ranked among the best 2 teams in Africa and also for their physical football. Nigeria in June climbed to 33rd in the FIFA ranking for nations teams in the world, an improvement of 11 points from its previous 45th position. The Selakau will first confront the Teranga Lions of Senegal on October 10 at the same venue. And that's all on News Now today. Many thanks for watching. Bye for now.